Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Black Logic. So this morning for your news update, we're going to go over how Israel has launched Operation Rising Lion that has bombed dozens of Iranian nuclear sites in a bold preemptive strike because Iran retaliated with over 100 drones. And while President Trump praised the operation, he denied direct U.S. involvement, but warned there's more to come. Meanwhile, back in India, a very devastating Air India crash kills nearly all 242 on board, with only one survivor and a chilling near miss by a student delayed by traffic. In U.S. domestic front, we have absolute political warfare. Trump signs a resolution gutting California's EV mandates. A federal court rules Trump can keep National Guard troops in L.A. And over 500,000 immigrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela ordered to self-deport immediately with cash incentives or face removal. Now, that's kind of funny that the Trump administration are actually giving people money to actually leave the country, or could this be some sort of entrapment? So we're going to get right into your stories this morning. Thank you for joining Black Logic. On June 13th, early this morning, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, deploying around 200 fighter jets to strike dozens of strategic military and nuclear facilities across Iran, including the Nans enriched plant and missile infrastructure. Killing senior commanders and several nuclear scientists, Iran responded by launching over 100 drones towards Israel, escalating regional fears. And Prime Minister Netanyahu says this was to stop a looming nuclear threat, while President Trump publicly praised the attack as excellent, but denied U.S. involvement, warning Iran there's more to come. And what's important about this nuclear strike, even though the United States had nothing to do with it, the technology and the equipment most likely is from the United States of America. So again, we're looking at a powerful nation when it comes to population, resources, and landmass, with Iran against a very smaller nation that has the backing of the most powerful country in the world. So again, let me guys give you a comparison contrast, because again, when we look at the population of Iran, we're talking about 92 million people versus only 9.7 million people. That is the vast difference when it comes to the two populations of these two countries. One country is naturally more powerful given their population and given the landmass, but some people will say, what about the military prowess, the military equipment, and the military resources that one country has over the other? Well, Israel has the backing of the most powerful country in the world. Thus, they can take on a giant like Iran. Let me show you another difference. Now on your screen here, look where Lebanon, Israel, and Jordan is. Look how small Israel is. We have to zoom in to get some sort of reference of the outline of this very, very small country. Now, let's look at Iran. Look at Iran compared to Israel. So we have a very small nation, but very powerful, compared to a very large nation with almost 10x the population with Iran. Now, don't forget, Iran has certain allies in the region like Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, okay? Even to some regards of Iraq and Syria and Lebanon. Kuwait are allies of America. Saudi Arabia is indifferent. So again, as we look at these two vast differences of Israel stating that they're trying to stop nuclear warfare, they're trying to stop Iranians from creating nuclear weapons. Now they already have enough uranium, and this is by the reports, to create 9 nuclear warheads. So this is the reason why Israel has stated they attacked Iran nuclear sites. So again, this was very strategic, but nonetheless, Iran returned 100 drones to attack Israel. So again, in this classic Trump fashion, the former president dropped his own bombshell on Truth Social. He basically stated and applauded Israel's move, but was quick to say that the U.S. had no hand in it. He said, and I quote, "I knew what was coming, but this wasn't our strike. But still, it was excellent." He also warned that Iran, that if they strike Israel, they'll see more than they bargained for. Love him or hate him, This man really knows how to make some headlines, does he not? Because Iran returned with 100 drones to attack on Israel. So I wonder if the U.S. is going to be more involved in this war with a much larger country than it was going against and supporting Israel against Hamas. But nonetheless, I digress. I'm going to keep you guys updated on this story as well, because again, this is the world at war. Now, as we pivot to a very haunting miracle story out of India, we understand again that this, I know what you see on your screen here. You see that the Iran Tiger just want to show you some of the destruction. But I want to move to this very special story of this Indian lady who missed the flight of Air India because she was running 10 minutes late. She was running late to catch her Air India flight out of, now I'm going to butcher this name because I do not know how to pronounce it. I'm just going to call it Ahmedabad. She missed the boarding gate by just 10 minutes. That same plane would later crash, unaliving everyone on board. She told local media that she was crying outside the terminal, devastated. And then the news broke that the plane never made it. So sometimes what we think is the worst day of our life turns out to be the greatest blessing of our lives. Now, this could be a romantic story nonetheless, even though, again, nothing is romantic about hundreds of people dying. I'm not applauding that at all. Okay, condolences to their families. But there was one survivor of the Air Indian flight, this gentleman here. He was the sole survivor of the Air Indian crash. Only one man survived. His name was Rashwankumar Ramash. And again, I do apologize for not properly pronouncing his name. But nonetheless, this story will send chills down your spine because he remembers the cabin lights flickering, the engines groaning, and the moment the plane slammed into a building. He crawled out through the wreckage with a gash on his face, watching others perish around him. He said, quote, "I thought I would die, but I didn't. I live for a reason." And that story deserves to be heard, especially when headlines move on so fast. Because again, he's a sole survivor out of 243 people. And this lady here missed her flight. And the reason why I say this could turn to something romantic, again, I'm alluding to that if they were ever to meet up and team up and start to date, because they have a connection of a very tragic accident, someone missing the flight and being the only sole survivor of that flight. Again, I know these are some of the hallmarks of a really, really great movie, but I digress because again, I don't want to share, I don't want to make light that hundreds of people lost their life, which is very, very tragic. Because again, he did say that he thought he was going to die. Now, I want to bring you guys' attention to this. Another big policy move is shaking things up. President Trump has officially signed H.J. Res 87, which is a congressional resolution killing California's stricter electric vehicle mandates. This means California can no longer force automakers to follow zero-emission targets that were more extreme than federal rules. Now, environmentalists are furious, but supporters say it restores sanity to an overreaching state. Very, very important. Can I make you guys aware of something that I also think that is very chilling, because a lot is not being said when it comes to this particular resolution. It states here, today I sign into law Res 87, joint resolution providing congressional disapproval under Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States Code of the rules submitted by the Environmental Protection Agency relating to California state motor vehicle engine pollution control standards. So President Trump is really going after California in a multitude of different ways. One, with the anti-ICE protests. Two, with now stripping away the EV mandate that Governor Newsom put in place. Again, this is more so Governor Newsom in some regards against President Trump. We already know who's going to win that. The president is going to win that hands down. There's no doubt about that. But again, this gives relief to a lot of Californians who did not want to buy an EV. Some people love their gas, fossil fuel cars in their vehicles. So again, some will look at this as a very good thing, while other, especially environmentalists and people who hug trees, state that this is a bad thing because we shall all be driving electric vehicles. But no one is never stating what generates electricity. I don't know if you guys ever watched Neil deGrasse Tyson. He did a special about how electricity is formed and where electricity comes from and all sorts of things about electricity, but it was mostly dealing with lightning, but it was geared around electricity. Nikola Tesla didn't harness electricity, guys. Frankenstein didn't put antennas up and attract electricity. Electricity is generated by power plants, by windmills, by underwater water generators, by thermal energy from the earth itself, from the earth's core. Electricity is generated in so many ways, but majority of electricity is generated by fossil fuels, natural gas and crude oil. So why do people believe that by buying an electric vehicle, you're going to decrease the carbon footprint? If you did any research, you would understand that by buying an electric vehicle, you increase the carbon footprint because of those batteries that after 10 years, most of them are pretty much scrap metal. And then how do you dispose of them properly? We might as well just start building nuclear plants again so most Americans can have cheap electricity, because even with solar panels, even though you may have a warranty on your solar panels like I do, they only last like 25, 30 years. And then over the course of 5, 10, 15 years, they reduce the amount of electricity, or excuse me, the amount of solar energy that they actually absorb. So again, I know a lot of people are going to be split on this new legislation that President Trump has signed into law. A federal appeals court just blocked Governor Newsom's attempt to reclaim control over California's National Guard. A lot of people are clapping hands on this particular story.
The Trump administration to return control of the California National Guard to Governor Newsom. This comes after California Senator Alex Padilla, you see it right there, was wrestled to the ground and handcuffed by federal agents at an immigration news conference with the Homeland Security Secretary. Matt Rivers is in Los Angeles with the latest. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, George. The National Guardsmen continue to protect that federal building there behind me in downtown Los Angeles after a quiet night. But the fight over who is in command of the thousands of National Guard troops that remain in the city, the president or the governor of California, is heating up.
Overnight, a U.S. district judge ruling President Trump illegally deployed 4,000 California National Guard troops in Los Angeles. In a scathing opinion, Judge Charles Breyer saying the protests fall far short of the legal requirements of a rebellion to justify a federal deployment. The judge ordering Trump to return command of the Guardsmen to Governor Gavin Newsom by noon today, saying the citizens of Los Angeles face a greater harm from the continued unlawful militarization of their city.
Clearly, there's no invasion. There's no rebellion. It's absurd.
But then just a few hours later, a federal appeals court putting that order on hold after a late-night appeal from the Trump administration, ruling Trump can keep the California National Guard deployed for now.
Hands up, hands up. There you have it. And here's the senator of California acting a straight fool.
I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary.
This coming after growing fallout from California Senator Alex Padilla's forced removal from a DHS press conference in Los Angeles. We were in the room.
So the crazy thing about this particular story is that an appeals court actually stated that Trump can keep LA California National Guard in place, that they're still under the jurisdiction of the federal government. So this is very important. Now we have judges that are now supporting the president. And at one time, they were always defying some of the president's order of revoking some of the executive orders and or laws. But when it comes to the safety and sanctity of California American citizens, the judges are now backing by appealing the revocation and the extraction of those National Guard troops and render the authority back under the state under Governor Gavin Newsom. So again, this is very important that we understand that the president is still running things. The president is still in charge. And now he has the backing of a lot of the judges there within that jurisdiction. Now, here's one big thing. The Trump administration is ordering 500,000 immigrants from 4 countries, as I stated before, to leave. Haiti, Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela to leave the U.S. in the next 2 years. He gave them 2 years. He even gave them 1 year. He didn't give them 6 months. He gave them that you must leave our country within the next 2 years. These are the individuals who were here under temporary protective status, and now DHS is telling them to pack up. Now, some people are plotting this because in some regards, this is due process. You have 2 years to leave. So you literally have 2 years to get your affairs in order and move anywhere else in the world except for the United States of America. The department even offered $1,000 to anyone who leaves voluntarily. And critics state that this is heartless, and supporters say it's the law. But one thing's for sure, this is the largest deportation order we've seen in years. He's stating that 500,000 people must go. Let's keep one thing clear about citizens of America, American citizens. American citizens come from all different walks of life, creed, backgrounds, religion, race, cultural demographics, etc. So let's have a real conversation today. A deep, soul-stirring talk about what it truly means to be a Black American in a country that's never stopped asking us to prove our worth. They're always asking foundational Black Americans to prove our worth, even after centuries of bold accounts of acts, centuries of blood, sweat, brilliance, and sacrifice. See, we didn't just arrive here. We didn't hop off a plane or a boat seeking a new opportunity. No, we were forced here. Some of us was already here. And those who were forced here, we came here shackled in chains, stripped of names, of culture, of language. But even through the horror of slavery and Jim Crow, we didn't just survive, we built, and we're still building. We innovated and we dreamed. Yeah. Let's take it all the way back. The first railroad built by enslaved Black hands, not the Chinese. The Chinese did help build some of the railroads in America, but the first railroad was built by Black Americans. The first patent airship, the first patent air machine was patented by a Black man by the name of Charles Page, actually 1 month before the Wright brothers. And today we got innovators like Moses West, who created the atmospheric water generator, helping communities the government forgot by creating clean, potable drinking water out of the air. If you guys are not familiar with this man, then you absolutely need to be familiar with him. Because I know a lot of times more people are like, you always showing all these Black inventions of old people. What about anything you guys have done lately? Well, this is back in 2022. He makes water out of thin air, capturing the moisture and then generating into potable drinking water. Moses West. What about one of our brothers by the name of Julian Brown? This brother here, this young brother. They called him a 21-year-old genius who invented a groundbreaking machine that converts plastic waste into gasoline. He calls it Plastoline, offering a potential solution to pollution and sustainable fuel production. If any country in their right mind, and I'm thinking China, if any country in their right mind, one, give him the ultimate protection, give him 100 people to protect this man, then 2, do a brokering and licensing deal of this technology. He should not sell his technology. He should license it to different countries from around the world. And one continent in particular, which I've been to 3 countries, is Africa. Africa has tons, I mean, everywhere. The countries I've been to, they had it everywhere of plastic waste. And if you guys are not familiar with the process of America, where we send our plastic waste to, we send our plastic waste on ships to China. So if I was China, I would acquire this young man as well and his technology and protect him. Because again, China, again, is still trying to be the #1 country in the world. And if they acquire this young man, they give him some large $1 billion contract and they license his technology, China has megatons of plastic waste in their country. Think about if he licensed with every country around the world, basically turning all the plastic waste that we have in our oceans and our seas and our landfills and people's yards on the side of the road. Think about all the plastic waste. Remember where people used to take those carts in America and you used to see people walking around different cities picking up aluminum cans, and you used to get 5 cents per can and 10 cents per glass bottle, etc. This picture, the many of Americans basically collecting all of this plastic waste, taking it to a reactor that he created, and putting that same trash inside of your vehicle as fuel. Julian Brown. This gentleman is from Atlanta, by the way. He's from Atlanta, Georgia, that is. But our ancestors didn't have Google. They had grit. They didn't have stock portfolios. They were the economy. We're talking about Indiegogo, cotton, tobacco, sugar, hard labor, building buildings, whether it be the Capitol, the White House, the monument. It goes on. Empires were built on Black American backs. And let's be real. If we left tomorrow from America, this country would collapse overnight. Not if illegal immigrants leave, the country would not collapse, but if Black Americans leave, the country will collapse. I know that's going to raise a lot of hairs on the back of many people's neck. From agriculture to aerospace, fashion to finance, education to entertainment, we are the soul of this nation. Yet, we walk through a system designed to ignore us, criminalize us, erase us. We grow up being told we're a problem to be solved, not a power to be uplifted. But what they won't say, what they can't say is Black Americans are not liabilities. We are assets. Culturally, economically, intellectually, and spiritually, assets to a land we bled for a land we died for. We're not asking for a seat at the table anymore. No. We built the table. We carved it from the trees we cut down, and yet we are the ones expected to carry the moral weight of a country that still refuses to reconcile its sins. So let me be clear. We are a unique people. Our struggle, our journey, our nation within a nation is unlike anything else on this planet. Just like every race has its distinctions, every race has them. Every race has its distinctions. Black Americans have our own. We are foundational, not just a part of the American story. We are the beginning, the middle, and will be the future. And because of all of that, many Black Americans do not support the exploitation of our struggle by aligning with movements that sideline our issues. So the answer is clear. No, don't expect us to march in ICE protests for illegal immigration when we're still fighting for basic human dignity. Do not expect us to march and protest in anti-ICE protests for something that is illegal to the laws of the country that we helped and that we foundationally built from the ground up. So no, do not expect us to march in anti-protest to keep people who are illegally in the country still demanding clean water, quality schools, affordable health care, police accountability in a nation that we built. And I get it. We built the foundation, and there are Irish and Scottish and Hispanics that came over and built later. But we're talking about who built those first roads? Who laid out the infrastructure outline of America? Who did some of the slave breaking, back-breaking work? Foundational Black Americans. And let me be very crystal clear. We love this country, but we also hold it accountable. We love this country, but we also hold it accountable. We can defend it from enemies. At the same time, we can demand justice from its systems. We are not a burden to this country. We are an uplift and a rise, and we're the blueprint of this country. So I know a lot of people are not going to take kindly to this. I understand. But you're dealing with a different type of people here. And believe it or not, those people are foundational Black Americans. We're not better than anyone else. We're just different.